Jimmy video that I had, where Jimmy, this is another thing too. And this isn't like I'm not trying to make this a defend Jimmy Dore thing, but it's always like I see the same thing. Oh, Jimmy Dore is a white supremacist. He's moving into, white supremacist territory, this, that, and the third. He's a conservative now. He's a Republican, all this shit. He's a libertarian. But it's like one of the things Jimmy has always been consistent on is policing that I've always appreciated from him is policing. Even when I wasn't all the way there on police, like Jimmy was talking about abolishment before I was there, bro. Before I was there. And it's like it's amazing to see to have somebody on on this platform. Jimmy has like 1 million subscribers, bro. He's like one of the most famous online political people out there. So having him have the stance he does on police is nothing but beneficial to the people's movement against the police. And it's this segment is just amazing the way he talks about this, and also adds in the class dynamic aspect of it as well.
The United States of America to try and make sense of what's going on in that crazy country and what that crazy country is doing around the world is the one and only Jimmy Dore, who joins us now, host of the legendary Jimmy Dore Show. Jimmy, let's start with a very somber matter.
Elizabeth, I'm gonna try to get out there. I don't know if I have to work or not. That's the only thing. I want to go, but I may have to work, which is the sucky part. So we will definitely see. I want to get out there because a lot of people that I want to link up with and talk to and possibly set up interviews with and everything is going to be out there. So I definitely want to get out there and just to be engaged with people that have this anti-imperialist sentiment going with it, because you could be anti-war and not be anti-imperialist. We see that with Medea Benjamin, who dropped out much the same way a lot of people dropped out from the march, the healthcare marches that they did, because people started spreading these rumors, about white supremacists being there or whatever. I think I heard Medea Benjamin dropped out because of that, which is trash. But that's when you get people who are just anti-war and not anti-imperialist. I like to say, look, I hate war. Obviously, I've never been in a war. I can never understand what it's like to be in a war. However, that being said, I call myself an anti-imperialist because sometimes you are forced into a situation where you do have to fight. I've been in situations where I had to fight, especially growing when I was younger. I lived in Philly and I grew up. Sometimes, bro, look, I say it like this on Twitter: niggas just gotta fight sometimes, bro. That's just what it is. Especially if you got siblings, bro, niggas just gotta fight sometimes, bro. Like, that's the best way I can put it. Niggas just gotta fight sometimes, bro. And you want to try to avoid it at all cost. However, that people will put you in situations where you have to defend yourself. So that is why, I abhor this mindset. Laughing emotions. But real shit, but G shit, bro. Yo, like G shit. Like I abhor this mindset that you're supposed to stand there and keep turning the other cheek, bro. Like, nah, fam, nah, bro, nah. I ain't with that shit, bro. Look, I want to know motherfuckers that think, look, thank you, Dr. King, for the work you did, but I'm not on that bitch ass shit, bro. Fuck that, bro. Why you think I'm telling my niggas, yo, exercise that 2A, bro? One of them fucking bacon boys come acting stupid. You have that thing, they gonna get that act right quick. I'm telling you, bro, if Americans, and especially Black Americans, if we started arming up in higher numbers, bro, the police gonna get on that act right quick. I'm telling you, bro. I am telling you. So that's why, I abhor war. I don't want war to happen. But real shit, G shit, bro, some niggas just gonna test you, bro, and you gotta let niggas know sometimes. Nah. It ain't nothing sweet over here, bro. So yeah, real shit. So that whole like stand there and fuck that. I'll let that shit happen to me a couple times when I was younger. I got my ass beat because he especially when I moved to Delaware, I was around a lot of white people. So you got a big black kid, and shit like that. It's not good optics. And even my mom would sit down and have conversations with me as we were around more white people. She had conversations with me and everything. But nah, fuck that shit, bro. I turned into a savage in middle school or in middle school, bro. I was like, nah, fuck that, bro. Somebody talked to me wrong. Nah, what? Yeah. But yeah, but Nick, bro, like this, this whole exactly this right here. Pacifism only works when your enemy has a conscience. Exactly. Some niggas gotta get that act right, bro. That's just straight up what it is. They gotta get slapped in their mouth to get that act right sometimes. You don't want it to happen. I'm a peaceful person. You guys, anybody around me, I'm not like, rah, this, that, and the third. But it gets to a certain point where nah. What's this? Everybody should see today's A and Word with Palestine. Steve interviews Scott Ritter. Questions about the military and patriotism. At the end, he drops some heavy. I'm gonna have to check that out. I like Scott Ritter. I'm gonna have to check that out. But yeah, Jimmy makes this great point. Let's go ahead and get back into the video because he really makes some great points here. If I can get back to it.
Indeed, the whole world has now seen body cam footage of the savage clubbing to death of Tyree Nichols in Memphis, Tennessee. The police not just killing him, but leaving him there to die slowly. The other services that turned up after the fact, standing around, laughing, joking, smoking, and so on. It's possibly the worst movie out of America that wasn't made by Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, it's, policing, I don't know how it is in the rest of the world, but certainly in America, it's broken, and it's been broken for a long time. And they fill our policing with ex-military people too, which is another bad thing. And there's lots of ways to reform the police in the United States, but the oligarchy doesn't want it. So let's remember what the police are there. They're not really there to keep you safe. They're there to protect the property of the oligarchies. And so even though these policemen were all African American, they're still saying that this was, because of systemic racism inside the policing in America. I think police in America are just they recruit the wrong people. They're out of control.
So I just want to pause it right there because that's where, not necessarily, I don't disagree with him there, but I have a slight pushback because I don't see. Here's the thing. It's not about them recruiting the wrong people. It's about the fact that when you look at going into the systemic racism aspects, and a lot of people are, I don't know if they're afraid. I'm not saying Jimmy's afraid to talk about this. Jimmy has talked about this all the time on his channel, but I see a lot of white leftists when they talk about this, and a lot of other, white people who talk about this issue, is that you got to realize that they say this all the time. Police are there to protect property. Bet you're right. Since we all know the origins of policing goes all the way back to slave patrols, what property were they protecting then? People like me, because I was considered property. So when you talk about systemic rape, you think that left the police department? If that is your origins, do you think that just magically vanished? Oh, we don't know. And people are like, well, it was black cops that did it. Bro, black people have a saying. You guys have probably heard this shit. You probably heard us say this shit all the time. All skin folk ain't your kinfolk. And that's straight up what it is. You got a lot of niggas out here, and I'm keeping it a bean to all my black folk watching. You got a lot of niggas out here that want to be welcomed into that white structure. And it's a saying that I like to say as well: the higher you go, the more you're gonna see snow. So the higher up you go in these institutions, the more white people you're going to be around. And unfortunately, you have a lot of black people, black men especially, out there with internalized hatred of themselves and of their people, that they want to be white. Like, you hear these niggas, it's the same niggas that be talking about, I don't see rape. They quote Martin Luther King all the time, not knowing the full context of this quote, but I don't see skin color. I judge people by the content of their character. Yeah, B, that's cool. But when you look at the systemic issues that Black people have and the history behind that, like, we know what you're trying to do at that point. So, and also, this is something that me and Josh are probably going to talk about later on the panel. But when you look at how, and this is something I've been talking about on Twitter, when you look at how, other groups are so quick, to go along with white supremacy at times, to where, I say this all the time. I think Black people, we really need to reevaluate our political alliances and who we ally with, because our allies always end up leaving us out in the cold. They get what they want and they're gone, whether it's the LGBT movement, the feminist movement. Shit, I have a video. I forgot to send it to myself so I could play it. There's a video of like this, like she was like a female house person or something like that, or a senator. I forget what it was exactly, but she was talking about basically how feminists, they were against the civil rights movement at a point because they felt that why should a Black woman get rights that we don't even have yet? Bro, I lied to you not. So she was basically admitting that they purposely like fought to water down the Civil Rights Act because white women weren't getting what they wanted. It's crazy. The Funky Academic was talking about this. I don't know, his name's like Arami Frimspong or something like that. That's another guy I want to have on the show. That nigga spits fire, bro. I want to have him on the show ASAP. But I'm not going to comment on that. I'm not going to comment on that. But y'all, you know who I'm talking to. I see that comment. I'm not going. Hey, look, bro. Look. But yeah, so and my dad always told my dad told me this shit all the time, bro. Like, white supremacy always breaks its tools at the end, and you're seeing that play out exactly with these cops, bro. Exactly. So this concept that just because they're Black, this can't be, a racist, motivated, thing. That's, it's that lacks nuance and proper analysis. But I'm not saying Jimmy's saying that, but we have to, if we're going to talk about these things, we have to highlight that point. And that's why I'm here, honestly. So, but Jimmy, I've heard literally, dog, go back and watch Jimmy's old back catalog, bro. This motherfucker, this nigga, he's literally gotten into arguments with other white people because of how strong his anti-police stances are. Like, so Jimmy does a great job when it comes to talking about policing.
Maniacs, they're hopped up on steroids. They don't live in the neighborhoods that they police in, so they don't see the citizenry in America as someone that they're supposed to serve. They see them as the enemy. And so, like, for instance, in Los Angeles, all the cops live 30 miles outside of the city, and then they drive into the city to police us like they're animals. So that's what happens. And there's really so we did a whole year of protests in the United States. It was the biggest protest in the history of our country. And what the Democrats did after that year of protests was they invented another police department, and they funded it with $2 billion. And then they gave many more millions of dollars to the police. It was the exact opposite of what their voters wanted them to do.
And people like me and Jimmy and Nick from RBN, CJ, all of RBN, really, all of us kept saying this, but people, whatever, they're out to brunch. And we all know what's up with the Black Lives Matter organization, we know what's up with them. So it's like, yo, y'all went out there and did all that marching, all that rioting, all this shit. It was good that this conversation was brought back into the lexicon, but no action was brought because of this shit. And I told you, I got into multiple Facebook debates, but one rings in my head. I got into a debate with a classmate where when this shit happened, the George Floyd shit happened, and all the protests were happening, and Trump was talking about sending in the National Guard, all that shit. This classmate of mine posted, say, y'all know we got to vote for Biden, right? What? The logic, I wish I could play the meme where it's like Shorty and all the math equations are going around her face and shit. Because I'm like, yo, do you not know the history of this nigga Biden? I told her he was going to do exactly what he did when he got in the office. And he told y'all niggas what he wasn't going to do. He said, y'all ain't getting shit from me. No executive orders, no nothing. But you know who we did get shit for, right? All that. He passed that anti-Asian hate bill. He passed that LGBT bill. They went hard for the feminist and white women when it came to the abortion stuff. They codified gay marriage. But we can't get a George Floyd bill. How does that? I wonder why that is. But you know what? I'm going to vote for Biden, and I'm going to vote for Camel Toe Harris, who says she's black one day, but then she's Indian the next. So that's what I'm saying with black people specifically. We really need to evaluate our allies, because clearly it's very clear our allies ain't thinking about us. And I'm just keeping it a bean. And a lot of white people across the spectrum don't like to hear that shit. But guess what? It has to be said at this point, because this is crazy. Nigga, they just shot a nigga with no legs, bro. They just shot a nigga with no legs. Real shit. She's biracial. Yeah, I understand that she's biracial, but what you gotta realize is when she was running for president, and then eventually when she got selected, they were playing her herself, and the media were playing up this aspect of her being the first black woman elected. But then when she gets into office, like, never talks about black issues. This bitch had the audacity. I think she showed up to his funeral. And we all know her history, with law enforcement. We know how she feels about law enforcement. She want to lock fucking parents up because their kids are skipping school. We know what's up with her. So that's the point I'm making. But so yeah, and Jimmy, Jimmy's making a lot of salient points here, bro.
So again, we live in an oligarchy. That's why there will be no police reform, because the police serve the oligarchs. It's the same problem with everything. It's why we don't have healthcare in America, the richest country in the world. It's why the richest country in the world, half of the people here are poor or low income. It's 80% of workers live paycheck to paycheck in the richest country in the world, because people don't realize that the United States, people in America think the United States is just regular corrupt. They don't understand that it's 100% corrupt, which is why we can send $100 billion to Nazis in Ukraine right in our face, is when we won't send $100 billion to the United States so that we can fix homelessness or give people health care or a living wage. And the people see that this is happening now, slowly starting to see whether they will get joined together and rise up. They need a leader to bring people together. And what's starting to happen in America is people on the left and the right are starting to see that they share a common interest. And that's what actually scares the oligarchy the most. And so if that happens, then maybe we can have some reform of the police. If that happens, maybe we can have healthcare in America. If that happens, maybe we can end these murderous wars for fossil fuels and hegemony, and maybe we can start investing in our own country. We don't have, we were supposed to get high-speed trains here during the first economic collapse in 2008. They were supposed to have high-speed trains all over America. They never built one. We don't have anything in the United States that other countries have. We don't have health care. We don't have transportation. We don't have living wage. We have education system that bankrupts you, and it's because our country is completely 100% bought by corporations, right? So we're living in a fascist state, and the trick they play is the Democrats and the Democrat liberal corporate-owned media. They try to trick you into thinking one party is fascist and one party isn't, so it keeps you inside that system thinking someone's actually fighting for you. There is nobody fighting for you inside the government of the United States, and that's what just got revealed when the lefty squad completely rolled over and became war pigs. So if you're a lefty, you're supposed to at least be against war. They're the biggest war pigs in the world, and they'll never stand up against the establishment to stick up for the people who got them there. So I know that's a long answer, and I know it started with what's wrong with policing in America, but what's wrong with policing in America is the symptom of what's wrong with America, is that we live in a 100% completely corrupt country where the gears of the government only work if it's lubricated with corruption, which is why we can send $100 billion at the snap of a finger to the most corrupt country in Europe, while we won't send $100 billion to fix homelessness in America.
Bruh. Mic drop. It's over, bro. It's over, dog. And this is the consciousness that is arising in the United States. Now you have your conservative strain of it. Obviously, you have your left strain of it. I definitely think you have your like little wing where you have like the communists and the socialists bubbling of that, like the true communists and socialists, people like CPI and things like that, and others as well. But that is the consciousness that is rising in America, and having somebody like Jimmy Dore pushing this message out there is nothing but beneficial for the people. And by the way, that like you'll see Majority Report, you'll see all the usual suspects, TYT, all these people, call like Jimmy's a libertarian now, but here he is advocating for Medicare for all, free education, ending homeless. Like, and I'm not saying because conservatives aren't for those things, because we know according to polling that they are. But this bullshit duopoly in both our politics and our media creates this false divide where people are just arguing about stupid shit. Like I just saw the video where Trump's talking about banning like trans surgeries or whatever or some shit. And no, I have no pony in the race. I don't care. Like I'm gonna just keep it. I don't care about this, bro. I really don't. This is like that is virtue signaling to me, where it's like if Trump would do himself a favor if he got away from the culture war and focused on the issues that got him elected. When Trump was running, bro, go look on my TikTok. I have a video there where Trump was talking about Medicare for all, bro. Trump was advocating for Medicare for all, like in the past, like the early 2000s, all the way up to 2016. Why don't play me like that? I don't hate trans people, bro. Don't play me like that. Don't do me like that. But nah. So it's like, Trump would do himself a favor if he focused on the issues that if Trump said that, he will win in a heartbeat, bro. There's nobody that would beat him. But unfortunately, that's not what he's sticking to. But I'm glad that we have people like Jimmy Dore out there pushing this message out there. I will continue pushing this message out here, bro. Like Ukraine is not even just in Europe. Ukraine is one of the most corrupt countries in the fucking world. Like people don't realize this. He's the most corrupt. They're one of the most corrupt countries in the fucking world. Bro, that's what I've been saying, bro. If Trump pushed through Medicare for all, bro, during COVID, nigga, they would literally they would have to unalive him. I'll say that. I'm not saying that I want that to happen. I'm saying if he passed Medicare for all, bro, they will unalive him. There was a couple things he could have did where they would have unalived him. That's why I think he'd be watching his words, because he ain't trying to go to Dallas. But great segments from Jimmy Dore. I think Jimmy Dore is a voice that we need to be that needs to be heard, that needs to be out there, which is why I did these segments. So